Okay, welcome to this talk on Jakarta EE10. I hear we have 34 minutes and 1 minute for questions, so I've cut out all the fun parts and we're just going to go straight to the hard stuff. So, my name is Ivar Grimstad. I'm the Jakarta EE developer advocate at Eclipse Foundation. These are my Twitter, LinkedIn and stuff, so you reach out to me there. Sometimes I do something interesting there, sometimes it's just noise, but you can filter it out if you want. But these are the ways you can contact me easily. So Jakarta EE10 was released on September 22nd, and that is a month ago. And this community-driven, modernized, simplified, lightweight release is what I'm going to talk about here today. But before I start with that, I'll talk about what specifications are, because Jakarta EE is all about specifications. And specifications, they are, in our context, that's a specification document or some prosa describing a specification. It could be a Java doc, it could be a PDF, but usually it is some kind of documentation. There are some API artifact or artifacts that are defining the specification. And there is a test kit or a test compatibility kit, which is something that we can use to test that somebody is implementing the specification as it is supposed to be. And these products or implementations that are implementing a specifications are compatible implementations. And we need at least one open source compatible implementation to ratify a specification. Apart from that, a compatible implementation can have any proprietary license it wants, but we need one open source version. Jakarta EE10 platform received all these updates. So all the blue boxes here are updated specifications for Jakarta EE10. And all with the .0 are the major updates. They are potentially breaking changes. All the .1 releases are minor updates. They have interesting stuff there as well, but they're not breaking anything. And the gray ones are not updated here. It doesn't mean they're dead or anything. They are just stable as they are for now. I know bean validation will probably get some attention in the next release because we want to support some newer features of Java, but and the others maybe not. We'll see. It depends on what the industry and community wants. And there's one new specification down in the corner, CDI Lite, which is actually not a new specification. It's just a part of CDI 4, but we'd like to call it a new specification, and I'll get back to that in a minute. If we remove a couple of these specifications, we are left with what we call the Jakarta EE10 web profile. And the web profile has been with us since Java E6 and is a subset of the platform. And as you see, it's the same updated specifications as were with the platform. The new thing here is concurrency. That was a part of the platform previously, but it has now moved over to the web profile. So now you can do real concurrency stuff with a smaller runtime than the entire platform. And if we remove the traditional webby kind of things with JSPs and servlets and stuff, we're left with a stack of specifications that is what we call the Jakarta EE10 Core Profile. And these specifications are targeting microservices, headless services, or whatever you want to call your stuff. And these are kind of where you create the RESTful endpoints. So it has the RESTful Web Services and the glue beneath that you need to create a simple RESTful Web Service. For 10, we also raised the Java SE level. So previously we supported Java SE 8. And as you know, that's old stuff. So we went to support Java SE 11. We could have gone higher, but we wanted to stay as low as possible to make people able to upgrade without too many changes. And the APIs are using Java SE 11 language features. It's compiled to Java SE 11 bytecode, and the TCKs are running with Java SE 11 and 17. So that means that if you're using 17 in your application and your runtime is supporting it, you can use Java SE 17. So Jakarta EE10 supports Java 17, but you can also use 11 if you're stuck with that. And the key is we're testing for 11 and 17. So let's look at a couple of specifications. And start with security. There is a security talk later today, so I encourage you to join that talk with Werner, and I'll be co-speaking with him there. So I won't talk very much about security here. But the new feature, or the major new feature in security was OpenID Connect. So now we have a standard way of defining OpenID Connect in Jakarta EE. And the way you do it is you use this very nice and easy to write annotation, which is called OpenID Authentication Mechanism Definition. And you have some properties you can add there to define. And this is server side. Whatever client library you're using works fine with this. As I said, there's a security talk later today. Persistence received some updates. And one of the things Persistence added was support for UID as basic Java types. So now you can use UIDs directly in your entities without any mapping back and forth, which you used to have to do yourself. I'm using it for primary key here. You can also use it for any fields if you like. RESTful Web Services. So RESTful Web Services were planning a 4.0 release, but they landed on a 3.1 because they wanted to maintain compatibility backwards. In 4.0, they're going to embrace CDI more fully because they have some small context and some injection stuff that is not CDI, but they wanted to stay with that to maintain compatibility. And they added something that people have been wanted is support for multi-form data, which allows you to upload files through the REST APIs. And now we can do it in a standard way and not rely on the implementation specifics in, for example, REST-easy or Jersey. The other thing they added was the Java SE Bootstrap API. And that is to allow you to bootstrap your Java SE application from a jar file. You don't need to deploy it into an application server. I'll show it a small demo of this. What I'm going to use there is REST-EC6. And I'm going to use Jakarta REST and Jakarta JSON binding with that. So let's jump into the demo here and look at the Bootstrap application, which you can see here has the Jakarta RESTful 3.1 property, and it also has the REST EC Core, Undertow, and JSON binding dependencies. And the application in itself is super simple. It just defines the application, and it has a RESTful resource that has the produces JSON. And the app path endpoint, and it just writes how to Jakarta RESTful. So if we wanted to do this application bootable with the SE Bootstrap API, the three things I have to do. The first thing is to create a main method, and when I have a main method, what I'm going to do is to do set up some configuration. And in this case, I set the root path and the port number. You can do a lot of stuff here, but this is kind of the simple stuff. When we've done this, it is to instantiate the application. And in this case, I'm doing it in the application class. If you did it in another class, if you had the main method in a different class, you'd still have to instantiate this one, because this is the application. When I've done that, I just start it. Sorry. I have some lambdas and stuff here. Let's see. Demo start. So what I do here is just start it, and when it's I also have to add the interrupted exceptions. Like this. So I just start it and wait for a Control-C to stop it again. So if we want to run this one, let's open the terminal here and go to the Bootstrap and clean package. And I build it here to a simple jar file, which I can start with java-jar, the Bootstrap. In my case, with dependencies. And it starts up fairly quickly, as you see, and it runs on port 8081. 8081 Bootstrap. And you can see it gives you the message that you were expected. So it's a fairly way to quickly bootstrap a RESTful Web Services without deploying it into an application server. And you can still deploy the same application into an application server because the main class wouldn't do anything there. Core Profile. Core Profile is the major thing in EE10. And Core Profile is targeting smaller runtime. And that means runtimes that are only targeting or made to create microservices. And these are the specifications that Core Profile is made up of. And the compatible implementations of Core Profile that we have as of today is OpenLiberty, Payara, and Wildfly. It's kind of a surprise that these are the compatible implementations because these are also web and full profile. But the runtimes we had in mind when we created Core Profile is more in the likes of Helidon, Quarkus, Micronaut, etc. But these are potential, and some of them will be, some of them won't be. So I think both Helidon and Quarkus will probably be Core Profile compatible early next year or something. We'll see. And the key thing with Core Profile is CDI Lite. And CDI Lite is what it's designed to work in more restricted environments. It's a lighter version of a CDI. So it's a subset of the full CDI. So if you have CDI 4 in your application, you also have CDI Lite. The key thing there is to remove the dynamic features of CDI, or not remove them, but do the dynamic stuff at build time rather than at runtime, to be able to compile to native using GraalVM. And to support that, a new extensions API had to be made. And this new extension API, rather than being scanned at startup of the server, an application, it has the lifecycle events are discovered at build time, so they can create the stuff they need in order to compile to native. And the breaking change in CDI 4.0 is the change behavior of Beans XML. And I'll show that in a demo later. But first, what I want to do is to take you all through the steps of going from EE8 to EE9 and then to EE10. This is the typical migration path for a previous versions of Java EE or Jakarta EE. If you want to get to the newest version, I would recommend stopping a little bit on 9. I wouldn't necessarily recommend to go into production with 9, but it's a nice stepping point on the way to just verify that you've done it right. And the key thing there is the namespace change. We changed it from JavaX to Jakarta. And if you don't think that matters to you, if you're using Spring or something else, well, it does, because Spring 6 is release candidate now. Spring Boot 3 is release candidate now. Both of them are on the Jakarta namespace. If you're using Jetty or Tomcat and want to stay on the latest versions, it's the Jakarta namespace. Hibernate, same way. So if you're using any of these technologies outside of Jakarta EE, you're still affected by this namespace change, and you've got to do this migration in your applications. And you can do it in several ways. Transformation is one of them. And we have at least these two, Eclipse Transformer and Apache Tomcat migration tool, that will do it for you. It will take the bytecode and transfer it from JavaX to Jakarta. It doesn't change the sources, so you would have to do it again. Some of the runtimes even incorporate these in the runtime, so you can drop a JavaX namespace file into a EE10 server, and it will do the transformation while it's deploying for you. So you don't even have to do it. But these are kind of things you shouldn't do rely on for a long time. It's nice to have to test it and there. You can do it manually. And these are the 6 steps that I've written, and you can find it on my GitHub where there's a tutorial. You can test it out and do the Jakarta EE transformation from step 1 to 6. Since this is a 34-minute talk, I don't have time to do these steps manually, so I'll just do 1 and 2. And to do 1 and 2 here, I'm using the IDE, because the IDE is actually helping with this. And I'll show you how to do that in the IDE. And then afterwards, when I've done that, I'll take that application and move it directly to 10, and even demo some Core Profile if we have time for it. So I have my application here, the complete Duke application. I'll walk you through it very quickly. And I'll just get rid of this one. So you can see I'm on Java SE 8. And I'm using Jakarta E8. What I want to do here is to move this to 9.1. We'll also look at the actual code in the application. You can see I'm using the JavaX namespace. This is the application. It's the same as the one I showed you previously. And it has the @hello message. It's using EJBs for the business logic. So I have this injecting this EJB here, which is doing the find greeting method. It's a stateless session bin. It injects a repository where it finds a message and takes the first one, and otherwise hardcode it. And this find all method is are using Jakarta Persistence API, and are using the criteria API there to just select everything from the greetings table. And the greetings table is defined in my entity, which is also Jakarta persistence. And you can see I have 3 fields, the ID, message, and the email, and getters and setters to that. I also have some CDA extensions there. I won't go through those in time, but if you want to talk about this and do some with this, you can meet me outside. We can sit down in the hacker table and look at this stuff. So this is the application. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it here, and it is as easy as changing from 8 to 9.1. And that's the only change I'll do. I'll refresh the project, and then I'll do the refactoring here and just migrate Java EE to Jakarta EE. I'll choose the complete Duke and do the migration and do refactor. And what you can see here now is all of my classes have now been moved to the Jakarta namespace. So that's it. That's all I have to do. I also have to do the other 4 steps, but you can look at them later. But one of the steps is to rename the bootstrapping file from JavaX to Jakarta, and I need to change the namespace in my XML definition configuration if I have any, and also change the property names if I have any JavaX prefix properties. When I've done that, I'm ready to deploy this to a server. And here I'm going to start up Glassfish 6 here. I'm also going to start up Glassfish 7. Let's see here. Don't mind the logs, it's just something that is there from previously. I started 5.1, that wasn't the one I wanted. Stop this one, start 6. There you go. So now I have 6 and 7 running. So in Glassfish 6, which is EE9 compatible, I'll deploy the application, the complete Duke War. Go there. Let's hope it works. And deploy. And the log should show something. Yeah, of course, I didn't prepare the database, so I'll just quickly start the database. Sorry about that. But I'll keep talking while I do so we won't lose any time. There you go. So start database. So the database is starting. And what I'm going to demo after this is to take this one and move it quickly to E10. So I have the complete Duke here. Let's deploy it. It's deploying. You can see it starts. Everything looks fine. I'll go to the web page. It's on 8082, I think. Complete Duke. Hello. And it says, how did Jakarta EE? So the migration has worked. It's done over. Let's move this one to 10. There are a couple of things you need to consider when moving to 10. So I'll just start Glassfish 7 here, so I have it running. There you go. So the easy thing is, well, I'll do one other thing. Who want to try 17 with the Jakarta EE 9? So I like that, and like pushing things. It's not really meant for 17, but let's do it anyway. So I'll upgrade to 17. I'll get rid of these. So I'm now on Java 17, and when I'm 17, I can use some 17 features. So let's introduce a record here. I'll use a record. I call it Duke's greeting record, and I'll have a string message and a local date called date. And that's all I need to have a record. Then I'm going to use this record to return it through my API, so I don't expose my database entities. And then I need to fix the business logic method to use the return the record. And when I found the first one, I'll do the mapping from the greeting to the record. I'll take the greetings message and I use local date now. And I also have to fix, if I by any chance don't find anything in the database, I have to fix this one as well. And I'll just use local date now here as well. So now I have the business logic is doing the mapping for me, and I'm returning a record rather than the interface. There's one more thing you need to think of, and that is records are generating the accessor methods. And you can see here it's called data message. And for JSON binding is expecting a Java bean. So it won't find these methods since they're not saying get date and get message. So I could create these getter methods, accessor methods, or I can use a converter, or I can do the really dirty hack and just call them get message and get date, and then the methods that are then generated here are then called get date and get message. So Java bean properties are there. So if I go and deploy this one to Glassfish, we're still here. So I'll just redeploy it there. Redeploy. There it's up and running. If I refresh this one, you can see it's now changed to use the date rather than the email errors. So it works. We moved from 8 to 9, and now we're going to 10. So the change I have to do then is to take my application here. I have to change the dependency version, which is very simple. It's just write 10, and it's done. Refresh the project, and I'm on Jakarta EE 10. What also in 10 is actually meant for 17, so I don't have to do this get message and stuff. So I can remove this dirty hack and actually have date and message, so it looks much neater. Another thing I have to do, if you remember the CDI backwards incompatibility, is that they have actually fixed something that has been actually wrong previously, and that is, if you don't have a beans XML in your, it's treated as a empty beans XML. But in 10, if you run it on Java SE environment, CDI won't be activated unless you have a beans XML. So in 10, they would introduce that in 10 as well, in EE as well. So if you don't have a beans XML, you won't have CDI. So what we need to do is to add a beans XML file. And I'll just add it here. The CDI beans XML, and here you have to also be aware that this one is this CDI 3. So I need to change this to what am I doing here? CDI 4, and also you can see I have the bean discovery mode all generated for me here. I don't really need bean at all. The default is annotated. So I can write annotated all or just leave it empty. So empty beans XML means annotated. And everything in my application is annotated, so we're fine. And that's the only change I have to do to make it run on 10. So now I can take my application and deploy it into a Jakarta EE 10 server, and I'm using Glassfish 7 for that. There we go. And it's deployed. So if I now go to localhost 8080, complete hello, it says how to Jakarta, and I'm on Jakarta EE 10. So that's the transformation all the way. How are we on time? Is it 15 minutes left? Yeah. So Jakarta EE Core Profile. I'll just walk you through some code here. I won't run anything or anything. If I have a core application, the thing that kind of characterizes it is that you're using the core API and not the web API or the entire Jakarta EE API. So that's kind of the way you set up your application. Just have the provider dependency for Jakarta EE Core. And the difference in these applications is that I don't have any database here because persistent isn't supported in Core Profile. So here I'm just hard-coding the greeting message in my service. And also my service is not an EJB anymore because EJBs are not supported by Core Profile. So here it's a CDI request scope in. You can have any CDI scope, but I just chose request scopes. The other thing is the CDI extension is different. So in my previous application, I had this, some of you may have noticed I have this @Dukes annotation here. And I have an extension that is scanning for this and just putting out the log message, hey Duke, in the server log. So you can probably see it somewhere says, in this one, I guess. You can see it says, hi there. So that's kind of the CDI extension functionality I've built. And this one is implementing the traditional portable extensions. And if you're using portable extensions, they won't work in Core Profile because you want to be able to discover them at build time. So then you use the build-compatible extensions. And the build-compatible extensions are very similar as with the portable extensions are defined in this bootstrapping API called Jakarta Enterprise SPI extension, whereas the portable extensions are defined in this file that has a slightly longer name called Jakarta Enterprise Inject Build Compatible SPI Build Compatible extension. And this is the same as the interface you're implementing in the build compatible extension. So you see you implement another interface and you have some lifecycle annotations. So it's a kind of a different programming model. You use annotation based, but apart from that, you can achieve the same things as you're doing with portable extensions by using build compatible extensions. But you probably would benefit from reading the spec document and see what these life cycles are meaning and stuff. But you can do the same thing. So this was the application I was using. If you're using Core Profile, you would have to change the Jakarta CDI extension to a build-compatible extension, and you wouldn't be able to use the databases or any other things unless the implementation supports it, but it's not defined in Core Profile. So let's talk about fishes. And I have one fish in mind, and that's Payara. And Payara has an amazing cloud service. And I'll demo that one. But I'll also show something brand new that I actually released during the keynote. So, and that is the Jakarta EE starter page. It's at startjakarta.ee. And I'll demo how it's done here. So what you do is you go to the web page startjakarta.ee. So I'll start Jakarta.ee, right? And when you're there, you can see here, you can generate different things. And what I'm going to do, right now, it's the Jakarta EE10 and Jakarta EE8 are the archetypes that are supported. I haven't been able to do the 9. I'll probably do it later today. But let's use the 8. I'll just use you can define what your application should be like. And you can just click here, and this entire command is copied to my clipboard. So I can go to the command line. Let's open the terminal here. Oh, where are we? We're zooming, that's why. So let's go there. Get dizzy. So I'll open a new terminal here, and I'll just go to this folder, and I'll just paste in this. Since I'm not sure if it's available in Maven Central yet, since I just released it, so I'll just add this staging. No, it won't be in staging either. Yeah, maybe. Let's see if it works. So I'll just run this one, and it generates a project for me. And it generates a simple hello world, kind of similar to the ones I've been shown here. But you see, it's just to choose the stuff you need, and it generates it for you here. And it's in this demo folder. So I can go here. I can open up in an IDE. And then I'll zoom in a little here. So you can see it creates my project with everything I need here, and it creates a hello world application and a POM file that you can look at here. This one is Jakarta EE 8. That's what I chose, and Java SE 8. And the source code is generated here, just saying hello. So what I can do is I can go to the Payara Cloud console. I can choose here to create a new namespace, but I'll save a little time. So I already have these two namespaces defined for me here. So I'll use the US one, and I'll upload an application. And I'll choose the one I just created here. See if I can find it under demo, and then target. Oh, I have to build it first. So I'll just Maven clean package. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. So, and then I have the demo war here. I'll deploy it immediately. I'll call it Sushi Duke, just for fun. And, oh crap. Yeah, so in theory, it will start like this. And it would say, I have to go to the hello endpoint, and it would say hello from Jakarta EE. And it will deploy fairly quickly. So you can see the only configuration I need to do is take my WAR file, which I go to the start Jakarta.de, I click generate, one click. Then I compile it, a couple of types, let's say one click more. And then I open the Payara browser and I upload the file. 3 clicks, and you're up and running in the cloud. That's how simple Jakarta EE is nowadays. All right, beyond Jakarta EE 10, after 10, 11, it's going on now. We're starting the discussions, and the discussions going on now. One of them are which Java SE version should we support? Should it be 17? Should it be 21? What is it? What we know is that we will definitely be able to run on the latest LTS that is available when EE 11 is out. But which language level features? It probably be 17, but it could be higher. But at least 17. So I'll go through some of the ongoing specification projects. We have Jakarta config that are standardizing portable configuration from environment-aware sources. So it's kind of a move the stuff that are done in microprofile in Jakarta EE, so it's beneficial for all of them from the Jakarta EE platform. Jakarta MVC is standardized an action-based model view controller, and as we go in circle in this business, sooner or later we're going to go back to server-side rendering, and then MVC is there to help you. And MVC is, if you know Jakarta REST, it's just a couple of annotations on top of that, and you have an MVC application. It's super simple to use. I really encourage you to try it out. It runs on RESTDC, on Jersey, on Glassfish, so you can just pick your application server that has them. We're also planning on doing a Tomcat bundle, so you can run on Tomcat. Jakarta NoSQL, it's going to support SQL databases in a standard way. We have a Jakarta RPC, which will standardize the gRPC within Jakarta EE. We have a Jakarta data that will standardize the repository pattern in Jakarta EE. So just as Spring data, you can just type a interface method and generate all the database stuff for you. And that will work for NoSQL and JPA. Jakarta functions, why not? Why not look at cloud and cloud functions? So if you're, this is not a proposal, by the way. This is just me writing something on this slide. But if you think this is a cool idea, tweet about it, and we'll know. To sum up, Jakarta EE 9 did the namespace change, and that was kind of the big thing. It has disrupted the industry more than we actually thought it would. But it seems like most of the libraries are actually keeping up. There are some here and there that have some old stuff that are in trouble, but this is kind of forcing the entire industry to update their dependencies, and that's probably kind of a good thing. Jakarta E10 came with a lot of changes. All the blue ones were updated. It's the first release within Jakarta EE that actually delivers something other than just kind of massaging the old stuff with namespace changes and stuff. So this is all new functionality. And we are expecting to see Jakarta 11 probably something like this in terms of updates as well. Jakarta EE Core Profile is a new profile. We'll see how the uptake on that one is. This is targeting smaller runtimes, so it could potentially be something that you can use for serverless with Jakarta EE. When you get the upside sort of times of the Graal VM native compiled code, so you can probably create functions with Jakarta EE, which is pretty cool. Jakarta SE 11 is the baseline for the APIs, but we run on 17. You can use 11 if you like. Start Jakarta EE, that's where you're going to go to get started with Jakarta EE if you want to just start a project. In addition to the 3 archetypes that I showed there, we are going to create a way for you to add your archetype. So if you are creating any Jakarta EE archetypes, and you want to have them in our drop-down list, we're going to make a way to make that happen. There's also, if you scroll a little down on that page, there are some archetypes and generators that generates more extensive examples using all the specifications and have a lot of configuration around it. But we just wanted to do something super simple to start with. Start Jakarta.de, that's what you're going to remember from this talk. Or you can also remember these URLs. Jakarta.de is also a good place to start. You can actually link to the starter from Jakarta.de. You just have to look for it. But it is there in some of the menus. There are also blogs. Jakarta Blogs is a blog aggregator, so if you're writing some Java stuff, it doesn't have to be Jakarta related even. You can have your blog added here and get all the promotion around it. They tweet about it, and you get lots of more views on your blog if you're here. So it's an easy way to add. You just have to file an issue with your RSS feed and some metadata, and you're good to go. I write some weekly and often more than weekly blogs on my domain. It's also on Jakarta blogs and Eclipse blogs. And the demo code from this talk is on my GitHub. It's called Jakarta EDUC. You can probably just go into your favorite search engine and type Jakarta EDUC, and you most certainly will land here. I don't think many other else are calling their application that. So with that, I have 3 minutes for questions actually. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions during the conference. Any questions? Yes.
Are there plans to move the Java EE or Jakarta EE security portion to the core profile stack? Because I can assume that when we're building microservices or focus on microservices, we kind of need these new features like OpenID Connect, easy implementation.
Yeah. So the question is, are there any plans to move Jakarta security over to core profile? And I think somebody is talking about it. I personally don't think it's going to happen. Maybe, usually you do the OpenID Connect in front of your microservices, and you send a token. So it would make more sense to have simple tokens propagation support. So having some sort of the microprofile JWT specification, some version of that maybe makes sense in core profile. I think token propagation is more likely to go there than security. Security is a little bit too much today. Anything else? Okay, thank you.